The bonus round is back from DICE in Las Vegas, and this week we're with Kotaku's Stephen Totilo and Polygon's Brian Crescente to discuss one of the biggest topics in the game industry: video game violence. What does the game industry need to do to make sure it's protected as an art form, and what are the risks involved?
The people who make violent video games, they don't talk. They should talk. Talk about what they do. Humanize what they do.
The answers may surprise you, as this episode of the bonus round starts right now. We're back here in the bonus round on GameTrailers.com with Brian Crescente, the news editor for Polygon, and Stephen Totilo, the editor-in-chief of Kotaku. PlayStation 4 announcement is out there, and this week we're going to talk about something which is very important to our industry, which is a lot of the debate and discussion around violence in video games, obviously after the Sandy Hook tragedy. You guys have been covering this story on both your blogs, and it feels like it just doesn't go away. It seems like there's sort of more conversation around it. I was talking here at DICE to Mike Gallagher from the ESA, and they're very busy sort of dealing with a lot of these states now and people that are boiling up with concern around violent video games. Do you think, is this something that gamers should be worried about, Stephen?
Yeah, Brian broke a story, I believe, about a town in some folks in Connecticut, right, that wanted to burn violent video games. That's an extreme reaction to have to something that has only had, at best, a tangential relationship to video games. I think what was it? Adam Lanza, the murderer in the school shooting, his plumber had seen a poster of Call of Duty. Like, the connections are very tenuous, and yet there is this never-ending sense of, I guess, anxiety that games are being looked at as this agent of sort of society's ruination or the manipulation of people's minds. And because there's a certain logic to it. Games are extremely violent. If you're not playing a game and you're looking over somebody's shoulder, you often are wondering, what in the world are you doing? How is that fun? It's very different when you're playing it, right? And so it's very easy, I think, for people to be horrified by games. They see an awful event happen like Sandy Hook. They want to know how it happens so they can find a way to stop the next one. Well, maybe there's really violent stuff over here. Maybe if we had less of that.
What good is this doing?
Yeah, and maybe if we had less of that, because it's obviously not helping. So maybe we get rid of it. So I kind of understand where it comes from. It comes out of a sense of people want to do something. Right. But it is weird that it's kind of never, it feels like it's never going to go away, and that games are always going to be treated this way.
No, and I mean, obviously, the Supreme Court has supported our industry and the right to sort of, express, creative sort of visions through these games that may be violent. But Brian, I mean, you guys have been all over this, and it seems like, as Stephen said, I mean, these towns, I mean, local legislatures, I mean, people feel like it's something that they need to stop. And it doesn't seem like, every week there seems to be a new story about someone who's trying to make a name by, calling out games. And we have, Vice President Biden saying, we need to do studies on these things and understand these things at least. So he's not saying, we should ban them. He says we should explore this more. We should do more studies.
Yeah, I mean, well, first, maybe I'm naive. I think a bulk of what's going on isn't done because people want to make a name for themselves. I think that they honestly think that they're doing something. And that's the thing. They feel like, I think, like Totilo said, there is a sense of frustration that this could happen in our society, and they're trying to figure out how can we deal with it. And the reality is, culturally, speaking of the culture, America's culture, not even America's culture, culture in general, pop culture in general, is very violent. And that is, I think, troubling. I'm sure it troubles all of us. So I think it's worthwhile for people to research it. What concerns me are sort of the knee-jerk reactions, because instead of researching it, they want to just go ahead and nip it in the bud. They want to go ahead, ban it from truck stops and get it out of libraries and burn them and do all these things. Syntaxes, I mean, it's ridiculous. I was about to say you expect it to be like, witch trials, but we've already basically had that happen with the burning. So what I would like to see happen is hopefully the CDC will have a fair study, and that's something we still don't know. If they get the funding, if Congress approves the $10 million, they then have to put together what they want the study to do. And hopefully that'll be a study that is balanced, because you have studies, frankly, on both sides that aren't really, I think, good studies. So I think that needs to be done. I think, frankly, I don't think gaming is in any way a factor here, but I think that it's always good for an industry, especially a creative industry, to re-examine its morals and re-examine what they create. Sure. Not because it's wrong, but because, why not? Shouldn't we be thinking about this all the time?
Guys, very important topic. Hold that thought. We'll be right back after this.